In the bustling heart of Paris, where the Seine shimmered under the morning light and artists lined the cobbled streets with painted dreams, Elena, a reserved and melancholic writer, had just moved into a quiet apartment near Montmartre. Her life was steeped in solitude, pages filled with longing, and a past she rarely spoke of, a broken engagement that left her heart sealed like an unread letter. Across the street lived Julien, a charming street musician with an untamed spirit, chestnut brown curls that fell into his eyes and a laugh that could soften even the hardest of days. Julien lived for the moment, with no care for tomorrow. Every sunrise was a melody, and every face was a possible story. They were opposites: Elena, with her autumnal soul, quietly sipping tea by her window, and Julien, like spring, bursting with color, energy, and warmth. Their first meeting was nothing extraordinary. He caught her eye as she watched him play the violin beneath her window. She never waved. He always smiled. One rainy day, Elena placed a handwritten note on her window. "What do you play when your heart hurts?" The next day, Julien played something slow, aching, and beautiful. It floated up to her apartment like a whispered answer. Then came another note and another song. Without speaking a word, they began a conversation made of music and paper, sharing fears, secrets, and dreams. It was healing for them both. Julien learned Elena once dreamed of publishing a novel, but gave up after heartbreak. Elena learned Julien had lost his mother the year before, and the music was the only way he remembered her voice. They fell in love word by word, note by note. One evening, after weeks of their window conversations, Julien stood outside her door with trembling hands. "Let's turn the pages together," he said, holding a bouquet of wildflowers and an umbrella. They walked to a nearby cafe under soft golden lights. It was their first real conversation, face to face. They talked until the chairs were turned upside down on the tables, and the city grew quiet around them. When Julien reached across the table and brushed a raindrop from Elena's cheek, it was as if her heart, locked away for years, suddenly remembered how to beat. Days turned into months. They wrote poetry together. He composed music for her stories. She painted words around his melodies. They spent hours by the river, sometimes laughing, sometimes just listening to the world breathe. He made her feel safe. She made him feel seen. They fought sometimes about small things, like her fear of letting go or his habit of hiding his pain behind jokes. But they always returned to each other. Love was not perfect, but it was real. On the anniversary of her broken engagement, Elena disappeared. No goodbye, no note. Julien searched for her across the city. She was at the cemetery visiting the grave of her grandmother, the only person who ever told her she was worthy of great love. She read aloud a letter she had written to Julien, but hadn't had the courage to give him. In it, she confessed how deeply she loved him, how he brought spring back into her autumn world, how she feared the past might ruin the only happiness she'd ever known. Unbeknownst to her, Julien had followed her and stood behind a tree, listening. When she turned around, he was there, holding tears in his eyes and a ring made from guitar string and thread. They didn't need a fancy proposal, they just needed each other. Months later, on a quiet hill outside the city, they exchanged vows beneath cherry blossoms. No crowd, just them and a violin playing the song he once played for her broken heart. Elena published her novel dedicated to the boy who played Spring into My Soul. Julien now played in concert halls, but every performance ended with the piece he wrote for her, Autumn's Letter. They learned that healing takes time, that love isn't about perfection, but present, staying, forgiving, growing. Love isn't about dramatic confessions or perfect timing. It's about the small moments, the notes in the window, the hand across the cafe table, the silent understanding between two hurting hearts. True love isn't finding someone to complete you, but someone who sees your broken pieces and stays to help you build something beautiful from them.
Hexy Tales. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment.